Alright, today on Ytp Presents, Rants and Reviews, today's episode, Scream4. Now, Scream4 takes us back to where it all began. The town that was premiered to us in the beginning of this, I don't know what it's called when it has 4 films, but I know like 3 is trilogy. I don't know what 4 is, but the 4th one brings us back to where it all started. Okay. And here's why. Sydney has gone all over the place. And the places that Sydney's gone, somehow or another, the killers have followed her. And if you've seen the films, you'd know that, first off, they're never the same killer. They always use the same disguise, but they're never the exact same person. But anyway. So, she goes back into the town that she originally left. Now, she goes back because she is actually promoting a book that she wrote about surviving the murders. The Westfield or the Westgate, I don't know, something like that. Murders. And so she wrote a book about being the sole survivor of all these things. And she goes back to the old town, and she decides to live with an aunt of hers, who at the same time her cousin is also still living at home. Young kid in high school. I'd say like probably senior in high school. Anyway, so as the movie progresses, the murders start up again. Things are even found on Sydney that portray her as the possible killer. This is where it gets tricky. Anyway, so she even gets framed for other murders. And, everybody starts to die and everything like that. And in the end, it comes out that the cousin is the murderer. The cousin to Sydney. The cousin's name is Jill, by the way. So Jill turns out to be the killer. And the reasoning for her killing is because she feels that Sydney has gotten all this fame because of the things that happened to her, which to some degree is true. However, the things that happened to Sydney were thrusted on her, okay? The things that happened to Sydney were forced. Whereas the things that are happening to Jill has planned. Jill has methodically done. She's murdered her friends. And one of the I would say chilling moments of the movie is Sydney says to her, "You've murdered all your friends for this," and she goes, "Friends? Are you kidding me?" But she says, "Are you effing kidding me?" I don't need friends. I need fans. You know, and the one interesting twist that they did um, with this is instead of hearing about the murders, they thought that if people got a glimpse into what really happened, um, the story would be much more believable, and it would make her even 10 times more famous because she was the survivor of these vicious attacks. And she makes a quote that is sort of kind of true. Well, she makes a couple quotes that are sort of kind of true. She says that it's no longer how much you do in this world, but how much effed up stuff happens to you in this world. And to some degree, that makes sense. I mean, with YouTube and everything like that, um, excuse me, you can make a movie, put it on YouTube, and become famous, and you're not even really good at what you do. It's just that you have all these people watching you. So the film does make a certain logic. I'll put it that way. It makes a certain logic, but it doesn't make a certain sense. Because I would have found it more believable had Jill been one of the victims and say it turned out to be like the best friend. Um, who was the killer? Because it just would have made things more believable for me. Um, having it be the cousin and having, I mean, she was really just, to me, it just sounded like someone throwing a temper tantrum at the end. You know, it's like they're always talking about you. They never talk about me, and that's like the way she came off. Um, but like I said, she made a lot of sense with some of the things that she said, such as what I just said, and such as also about how people never read anymore. It's about what people see. And so the fact that the murders were taped makes it that much more believable. You know, so it's out there and everybody can see it on their uh, iPhones, and cell phones, and webcams. And, you know, and it's so it makes a sort of sense, but it just I think it's also sending a bad message because in the end, even though Jill dies, she still ends up getting the fame that she wanted. And that's what she was coveting the whole time, is the fame. Um, but she still gets it in the sense that the reporters are talking about her now, and it's like, oh, Jill saved everyone, Jill helped, and this and that. And some of the things that the reporter even said really, if you watch the movie, it just doesn't fit, you know. But anyway, that's my rant on Scream 4. Um, if you like, I'll say this: if you like a good slasher film, it makes a pretty good slasher film. If you want something that makes sense, go see a nonfiction movie. Uh, because this throws sense and nonsense out the window. But anyway, thank you for watching another riveting episode of Rants and Reviews. I'm your host, the Dynamite Crip. Thank you, all of one that actually watches me. I will be putting up a poll sometime this week on my thing. On my, on my page, YouTube page. But let me ask the question on here. If you had here's the first question. If you had a favorite author, and I'll be lenient on this one. I mean, my thing is horror, but I'll be lenient. And if you have a favorite author, who is it? Who is it? Okay, thank you and goodbye.